Hello there everyone, welcome to today's webinar all about new features within Current. My name is Matthew, I'm a Senior Product Specialist here at Current. I believe I will have spoken to many of you over the years, but if this is your first time speaking to me, hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm really excited to go through some of the new features that we've launched over the past year here at Current RMS. We thought this would be a really nice way to close off the year, to discuss some of the new features, give you a little bit of an overview, maybe show you some of the factors of the features that you may not have been aware of before. If you do have any questions, please feel free to note them down as we go through the demo. Tomorrow, or in the coming days at least, we'll be sending out an email that will have a copy of this recording. So this session will be recorded, you will be able to refer back to it, and you're going to be able to ask questions and provide us with feedback on that particular email. But don't forget, you also have the green help bubble in the bottom right hand corner of the page down here where you can reach out to our team. You can also get in touch with us on our website, or you can book in an online training session to go into any of these features in any more depth, or to go over specific concerns or questions you have about these features. Now, I'm going to be discussing some of the features that we've launched over the last 6 months or so here at Current. Some new features, just going over how they work and how they can be set up. As some of you may know, we do have sort of a product team here at Current who take the time to look through all of the feature requests that we get, either via our wish list, via messages that we receive into Current, feedback that we collect from demos. So we're really lucky to have a really strong customer base who are always providing us with feedback. So we're always able to collect that information and put it into one place where the development team can then further investigate what we may be looking to do within the system next. Now, we'll be touching on just a few areas today, but if you want to see anything that's been going on, if you want to be able to see what development work's been happening, you can do so on our website. But also from your Current page, you can go into the What's New section here, and you're going to be able to see a list of recent changes that have happened. And scroll through there, there's a timeline of everything that's been happening. And there's going to be details there about some of the smaller things that's been happening, as well as some of the larger changes. When we do push out large changes, you will be notified in the green help bubble, but we'll also send out some emails just to let you know a little bit about that feature as well. You may have also noticed that recently we've been sending out a monthly roundup. That is a monthly email that goes out just to let you know about a few things that's been going on here at Current. We've been getting some feedback that they're really informative and really helpful, and that people really understand what's going on here, sort of behind the scenes. So we're really excited that people have really taken to them. Now, the first feature that we're going to be discussing today is, and with all these features, a feature you may be aware of, it's the testing and inspection feature. Now, depending on the type of gear that you rent, you may need to test or inspect your kit to ensure that it's safe for use. Popular tests for our customers include pat testing, Loller, test and tag, and this built-in module will allow you to do these tests when they're due and keep a full historical record of previous inspections. Now, you can get your inspection set up by going into System Setup, and you'll be able to go into the Inspection section just here. Now, you'll either be able to see your existing tests or inspections, but you can also add in a new inspection, as you may have different types of inspections for different products. So you can get those different inspections set up just by giving the inspection a name. So for example, we had pat testing there. That would just be the name of this particular test. You'll be able to state when those particular tests need to be scheduled. So is it a daily test, weekly, monthly, or annual? And you're going to be also able to state the interval there. So if, for example, you've set it as month, it could be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, for example. You also have the option to state that that an inspection is a mandatory inspection. And what that means is basically what it says on the tin. The system will block you from scanning an asset out onto a job if the inspection is overdue. If this slider is set to no, then the test is just advisory. And this means it will allow you to scan the overdue asset onto the order, whilst giving you a warning in the top right-hand corner of that job to let you know that you may need to test it. But it will still allow you to add it onto the job. You can also state that new assets will auto pass the test, which means that you don't have to test them when you're adding them into the system. They sort of go in, it's already passed, and will only need to be tested again when the next period comes around. Now you can also add in an inspection test. Now, when you complete an inspection within the system, you'll be stating that that particular inspection has been passed, but you will also be able to add in some additional information there. So any additional detail you want to capture, you can just add in an inspection, give it a name, and then select the type of information you want to capture. You know, is it going to be a text field, a number field, a yes or no slider, or you can also pull in some list of values from within your system setup as well. So when you've created your inspection, you'll be able to then go into your products. And in your products, when you're creating or editing a product, you're going to be able to apply a test to them. So you're going to be able to come in and do that as you set up your product. Sorry, it's against the asset, not against the actual product. But one of the quicker ways of getting this done is if I just pull in the product spreadsheet here. You'll see that on your product spreadsheet, you've got the test and inspection column. So you can just add in the name of the test that you want to apply to that particular product. What you're going to be able to do is just go into System Setup, export data, and pull all of this information into the spreadsheet. And you can really delete any information that you don't wish to update. You'll just need the test and inspection tag there and your ID. So at the very beginning, you're going to see your ID column. That information needs to be kept as well. You may also want to keep the name and product group perhaps. Now this is all about how you get that set up, but the actual functionality takes place within the testing and inspection section here within the resources, and you'll be able to see all of our assets that are currently waiting to be tested. To test them, you just select the test button over on the right hand side of the page, and here you can state that it has passed its test, leave a description if you need to, and then fill in any additional information. So those results that we set up there can be captured here. The system will also allow you to add in attachments. So you will be able to add in maybe any certificates that you got that go along with that particular test, and then create the inspection result within the system. And that will then update the product, and it will keep a full history of that particular product as well. You can just click into an asset where you'll then be able to see any previous inspections that have taken place. So a full history will always be kept. Now, if you've been using Current for a while, you may have needed to incorporate some form of testing information into the system previously. Many people have done this using custom fields against your stock levels to record inspection results and refer back to them for historical purposes. Now, up until this point, that's been the best method to do that, but now that we've got the testing and inspection module in there, there may be some changes that you need to make. What I would suggest doing is going to System Setup and exporting your stock levels, and that will provide you with a spreadsheet of your existing stock levels in the system, including their custom fields that are associated with them. And if you've already got your data in there for your stock levels, for your testing results, you're going to be able to take that information out of that spreadsheet and place it into the correct area. So from here, it'd be a case of cleaning up those inspection results. You can take them out, you can put them onto a test and inspection template that can also be exported from the system. And then you can then import that information into the system so that those records are up to date and will be kept up to date for when the next test comes along. If you have worked in that particular manner and you would like to get some more information on that, please feel free to drop us a message. We'll be happy to provide you with some screenshots, a little video explaining how to do that, going into a bit more depth, because it can be a little bit of a tricky process when it comes to changing information within the system. But this is going to be a really good place to get started because it's going to allow you to move forward with an actual system in place. The next thing that we're going to be taking a look at is inventory count. Whether you wait for a quiet week in the year or do batch to batch periodically, inventory counting is something that every rental business needs to get done. And this module will allow you to maintain accurate availability and identify discrepancies quickly. To start doing an inventory check, you can go into your resources tab and then into the inventory check section. Here you're going to be able to either continue on with an existing inventory check that you've created, or you can select add inventory check and you're going to be able to start building a check. You can do this across every single item in your system, all of the items within a particular product group, or even drill down into one specific product. The reason that we do this is because it will allow you to basically decide how you want to split the workload. Do we want to look at all of our audio equipment? Do we want to look at all of our staging equipment? Or do we just want to do everything in one go? You will be needing to set an inventory check date when you do this. And this is important as it's going to be looking at the equipment that you have available on that particular date. When you do a stock check, the system will allow you to, or will check for items that are booked out on opportunities, or look for items that have been booked into the quarantine and technically are accounted for, and it will automatically state that those items are okay. If I just cancel out of this particular page and go into our audio equipment here, you'll see we get a list of exceptions at the top of this page. And this is equipment that we are needing to check and needing to count. At the bottom of the page, we've got our OK section. And this is comprised of everything that we've already accounted for because it's booked out onto an opportunity or it's within the quarantine. It will also include any items that we've already stated are okay by including them in our stock check. At the top of the page, you'll be able to scan your items one by one, and that will then move the item from this particular section into the OK section. If you have bulk stock items, you can just type the name of the product in here and instead the quantity that you've counted if you don't want to scan them all one by one. That's exceptionally helpful as if you do maybe count more stock than you thought you had when it comes to your bulk stock items, you're going to be able to check in more items and your stock level will be updated to let everybody know that actually we thought we had 30, but we've actually got 32 available. If you prefer to do this via CSV file, if you prefer to do it on a spreadsheet, you are able to download the spreadsheet, which will give you a full list of your exceptions. You can then just state that we have got, the equipment there, it's being counted. There'll be a counted column on your spreadsheet you can fill in, and then you can upload that information back into current, and that will then move everything that you've checked classed as counted from the exceptions into the OK section. Then when you submit your changes, it will write off anything that you've left as an exception. So just be careful with that button. You don't want to do that too soon, as it will write off your stock if it is not available at that time. We've had some really good feedback about this particular module. One of our customers actually said that it usually took them a couple of weeks to do their stock check, but now that they're using current built-in stock check, it's only taken them a matter of days. We're really happy to hear that. It's really reassuring to hear that it's helping speed up people's processes. If you do have any feedback on this particular process or anything that we're discussing today, whether it's positive or constructive, please let us know. We're always happy to hear what you have to say about the system. And even if you're not necessarily happy with something, it does help us know what direction we want to be taking the system in. Now, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is a very popular feature that we're really happy that we've been able to put into the system. In fact, last year, my colleague Lisa and I went to a trade show in Melbourne, Australia, and this was the most popular request that we spoke to people about. And it's quite a small change, really, in terms of the bigger impact of the system. And that is the ability to customize your dashboard. Now, many of you will know the dashboard. It's the first page that you see when you log into current RMS, and it holds information that we at the time thought was important for everyone to see. However, we appreciate that every company is different, and even within every company, every user is different. Somebody from the warehouse may not need to see somebody else see the same information as somebody from the sales team. So with that in mind, we've decided to give flexibility here, and it allows admin users to modify roles to let everybody with that role see the information that's relevant to their working day, to their teams. And this can be done by going into System Setup and into Roles and Role Membership. And you can edit an existing role or add a role. And if we just scroll down the page here, you'll find your dashboard tiles. And you can select which dashboard tiles apply to you, to apply to your team members, what information do they need to see. In the past, the dashboard tiles have been very focused on today. You know, what's going on today? What have we working on? What's, you know, going out delivery-wise? What's going to be happening activity-wise? Whereas now we have other tabs that allow you to look at your orders tomorrow or orders this week to give you a bit more of a sight of what's going to be happening in the coming couple of days as opposed to just what's happening today. Now these dashboard boxes apply to admin users as well. So if you modify the full access or a different admin role that you've created, you can modify the dashboard tiles that show for an admin user. And you can have as many or as few of these tiles show up on your dashboard. It's really good to pinpoint that information and let you know what you want to see. Now, there may still be boxes that you want to see here. You may be thinking, oh, there's some more information that I'd like to see there. And if you do, please feel free to send a message to our team. We'll be happy to pass that on to the development team for consideration. This is just really the beginning of the dashboard tile section. There's still, you know, lots more information, I believe, that we could be pulling through, but we'll need to hear from you guys what you would like to see. So let us know. We're always happy to hear what people want to see there. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the purchasing beta. Now, when you sub-rent kit or subcontract services from Current, you'll be able to generate a PO against that particular sub-rental. A purchase order is essentially a document that provides details of the goods or services that you'd like from a supplier or vendor. If you add a product to a product or service to an opportunity, sorry, let me just open up our opportunity there. You will have the option to state that that item or that service is to be subcontracted or sub-rented. When you do so, you'll be able to see this little icon here next to the quantity to let you know that that's going to be a sub-rented booking or a subcontracted service. However, it will also pull a cost into the cost view. Now, you will be able to apply some supplier costs to your products. You can provide costs against your freelance staff if you have any, or your workers. You're going to be able to apply costs against them, and they automatically calculate here within the cost view. That being said, you can change those costs. You can, you know, set an actual cost, and that will then change the cost against the job. Now, not only are we going to be able to raise a PO here, we're also going to be able to see how that affects our predicted profit on the overall job as well. When it comes to creating a PO, what you'll want to do is you'll want to have a look at your costs. And in here, you're going to be able to see who the suppliers are. So for example, we've got 365 AV here. And what we can do is we can select the tick box next to this particular service in this case. However, if you did have multiple entries for that one supplier, you could just work your way down the list, ticking the boxes, and raise a purchase order for all of those line items in one go. You'll then be able to select the action drop down, and here you're going to be able to create that purchase order, and that will automatically pull up a box that we can see here, and I can click into that, and that's going to show our line item there on this particular purchase order. Now, as I am an admin user, this particular purchase order will be automatically authorized. However, you can set it up so that some purchase orders or some users don't automatically authorize and will require authorization from another user. Once you've authorized your PO, you can send a PO out to your supplier. You're going to be able to find that here. Like all the other documents in the system, these documents are customizable. You can have them amended by our team, but you can do that yourself as well within system setup document layouts. And you'll have the ability to either print off a friendly version, that's a physical copy that you can give to your supplier in person. You can download it as a PDF and send it via email, or you can create a discussion. And when you create a discussion, you're going to be able to send that message from Current directly across to your supplier. If they then respond to that, it will come back into the system. Next up, you will then want to mark that as sent. So you'll mark as sent. That will then let us know that we've sent that purchase order to our supplier. And then you can set an expected arrival time if you know when that's going to be turning up. There is a connected dashboard tile for that information now. But finally, once everything's been completed, all of the processes around that particular purchase order have been completed, you can then complete that purchase order, and that will then let us know that we have got no further action that we need to take on that particular purchase order there. Now, we do have plans for future expansion of the purchase order module. As you may know, the purchase order module is currently within beta, but we do plan to add more features. And that will be surrounding allowing you to create POs for sale products directly from the opportunity view, alongside a goods received process that will allow you to label up your stock and add it into the system once you've received your purchased equipment. You may also use Xero and QuickBooks integrations, and there is plans for future development there to allow the purchase orders to integrate with those systems in the same way that your invoices and credits do. As I mentioned, we'll always update you with the new features as they're going out in multiple different ways, using the green help bubble down there in the bottom right-hand corner, sending you an email, and our monthly roundup. You've also got the change logs there as well. So the purchase order is still under review. There's still a lot of work to go on there. So hopefully, if you're feeling that some of those features are missing at the moment, there will be more to come in the future. So, let us know if there is anything else you think that we're missing, especially in regards to, the development that we're hoping to do in the future. We'll be, looking to, maybe implement a little bit of that in the future. Now, they're sort of the bigger features that we've released over the last 12 months. Not every update is a big, massive blockbuster feature, but we're always listening to the feedback on the smaller things that can make a big difference to everyday use of Current as well. And for the final bit of our webinar today, we're just going to be touching on some of those smaller changes that have been made to, give you a little bit of an insight into what's been going on there. Now, one of the things that we've been waiting for, or added into the system, that some of you have been waiting for, is the ability to merge duplicate organizations. As your customer directory grows within Current, you may sometimes run into duplicate customers, and there's a multitude of reasons why this can happen. You may have, had somebody put an opportunity in the system in a rush and forgot to connect an existing organization, and they've instead created them new. Sometimes this can happen with an error with importing data into the system as well. So there's a couple of different reasons why this may happen. And if you do notice that, we've now got a field that allows you to connect two organizations together. All you need to do is go into the organization page and go into merge organization. And what this will allow you to do is it will delete this existing organization and merge it with another organization in the system. It's going to keep all of the information, so all of the previous data you've got about this particular organization, their opportunities and invoices, for example, all of that is going to be moved across to the new, the merging organization, so that we've got that detail there. So nothing's going to be lost. As always, we will keep that full history. Another feature that became really prominent this year was the ability to mark opportunities as postponed. Now, we obviously don't want to dwell too much on 2020 and obviously the coronavirus pandemic, but one thing that we became aware of early on in the year was that people were wanting to postpone opportunities, and there wasn't really a solid action for that within the system. Now, just by going into an opportunity, you can go down to the action section where you can mark an opportunity as postponed. And this will allow you to make the opportunity inactive, so it's no longer clogging up your opportunity view, but it's also going to allow you to easily find that opportunity again. Instead of having to search through all of your cancelled opportunities and then reopening it, all you need to do is select the drop-down arrow on the opportunities page underneath the search bar, select filter selection, and we want to just look for our inactive and postponed opportunities. And that will provide us with a list of opportunities that may be happening at a later date. When you postpone an opportunity, when you reopen it, it's going to allow you to state new start and end dates, and that will then modify the rest of the dates in the job accordingly. You may need to make some tweaks. Some things may change a little bit over time, especially maybe timings on services, maybe the items that they require. The event may now be scaled down, so you may want to make changes, and you can still make those changes before proceeding with your job. But it really is going to make finding those postponed opportunities a lot easier. Now, one thing I just mentioned there was the ability to change the dates when it comes to postponed jobs. And that's actually something else that we've introduced into the system, the ability to update existing service lines. So this is particularly helpful if you have, let's say, reoccurring events each year. You may use our clone feature a lot, which means that you're going to be cloning opportunities which will bring through the same information. Again, they can be modified and you can then change the dates on that job, but it doesn't change the service dates. That being said, we now have a way of doing that. If we just go down to our crew on this job, so we're going down to our services there, you can select the drop-down arrow next to the services, next to the group, select edit, and you can then state a default service start and end date. Now you can even copy this from your schedule. So if you've stated your scheduling, maybe the setup dates are relevant here, you want to pull that in, you can do so, or you can just select, the dates that you wish to use. You can also state that we want to update existing service items, and that's going to look at the services that are already within this group, and it will allow you to update them to the same period. This is really going to speed up that process as you can now action all of these services in one. Now, all of your services may not necessarily be for the same times. You may have technicians turning up earlier than some sound engineers, for example, and they may not necessarily be all working bang on the same hours. However, it does allow you to pull all of that information to around the same time period, which is really going to help you speed up that process so you're not spending too long clicking through the months if it is, let's say, an annual job. Now, one of the other smaller changes that we've put into the system that was requested a lot is the ability for you to change the file names for PDFs when you download documents from Current. Now, you may have noticed that when you download PDFs and quotes and invoices from Current, it sometimes comes with a really long name. And you may find yourself renaming the downloaded documents before you attach them to your own emails. And whilst that's a small little task, over time it can build up and take up a lot of time. Now, there's a way to do that in the system automatically. And that's just by going into System Setup, Documents and Templates, and selecting Document Layouts. And you can edit any of the documents here. We've got a collection node, for example. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to use the file name. The file name is going to allow you to then see the selected fields. So we've got the number in there, the opportunity number, the subject, the document name, collection node as an example. But you can pull through any information. You could add in the organization there. You can also remove information if you don't wish to use it. If you wish to change the order, you can also move information up and down the list. So you can go in and state whatever you would like that document to be called so that when you download the PDF, it's automatically assigned that name so you don't need to rename it. Next up, we're going to be talking about asset numbers, and that is a new feature that allows you to include automatic asset numbering. Now, when you add new serialized stock into your system, you may just want to quickly label it up ready to go out. In the past, you will have had to have either imported the information using a spreadsheet if you had a lot of information, or in the system, you'd have to add in a stock level and then select create and add another. If you're creating brand new assets, what you can do now within system preferences underneath your product settings is set up some automatic asset numbers. Just make sure the slider is set to yes, and then you'll have the ability to create a new asset here. It's somewhat similar to your opportunity and invoice number sequences. You're just creating a sequence so that when you add new asset numbers into the system, they're automatically going to be given this new sequence here. So the next number, for example, is going to be PLO2342. But if we did enter 10 into a particular product, it would automatically assign them the numbers between 2,342 to 2,352. You do still have the ability to select manual asset numbers when it comes to adding this information into the system. So if I go to this MacBook Pro here, for example, and scroll down, I can select add a new stock level and it will automatically have automatic asset numbering selected, and I can state 10, and that's automatically going to put those 10 numbers in place using our sequence. However, if you maybe are creating one, or you're maybe being given a particular product that's already got an asset and you want to put that into the system, just select the manual asset number field there, pop in your asset number, and it will then put that information into the system. So you've still got the two methods there, but this automatic asset numbering, especially if you're buying in lots of new stock and don't want to spend a lot of time putting in asset numbers and you've got a sequence you're happy with, this can save you a lot of time. And the final thing that I'm going to touch on today is in regards to the Xero and QuickBooks integration. So if you do use the Xero and QuickBooks integration, we now have a feature that allows you to choose whether you post zero value line items. This really does exactly what it says on the tin, and it can be set up within System Setup in your integrations page. We just go into Xero there, and if I just scroll down the page once it loads, you've got the post zero value invoice items, and that can be set to yes or no. If it's set to no, then we will not post zero value on invoice items. And what that means is basically if you have an item that doesn't have a price on the job, that's not going to be posted across to Xero. It's not going to be included on that invoice. So if you did want to send that out to your client, they're not going to get loads of individual items that don't have prices. That may be particularly useful if you have lots of accessories that are connected to products that do not hold a price and you don't want that information being sent across. In the past it would. We could hide it from documents within current, but it would be sent across to the accounting package, where now we just leave that information in current. It's not relevant to your invoice in Xero or QuickBooks. And that rounds up all of our new additions that we're going to be speaking about today. Now, we've been through a few different features here. Obviously, you may want some more information on some of them, so please feel free to reach out to our team if you do. Please feel free to benefit from the training sessions. They can be extremely helpful as well. But don't forget, you can pop us a message via the green help bubble in the bottom right-hand corner, sending us a message via our website. If you are new to Current and this is sort of your introduction, then don't forget you can sign up for a 30-day free trial on our website to get your hands on all of these features as well as all of the base features within the system. We'll be happy to help get you set up with the system if you do have any questions about anything there, so please feel free to get in touch. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that that's given you a little bit of an insight into those new features, answered any questions you may have. As I mentioned at the beginning, we will be sending out a recording of this particular session, so keep an eye on your email for that if you want to refer back to it. You also have the ability to ask questions and provide us with a little bit of feedback there. And that's it for everything today. As I said, thank you very much for joining me. I hope it's helped. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your year, and I wish you all the best for 2021. If we do not speak beforehand, fingers crossed it's a bit more of an optimistic year. I have every faith it will be. And I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.